If you're in there, you know what to do. With the DCU stepping into a fresh new era, there's already a lot of buzz about the different heroes and villains who are going to show up in upcoming movies, games, and shows. While most people are expecting appearances from iconic figures like Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, there's a surprise in the mix. A team-up movie featuring Bane and Deathstroke might be on the way. Even though the DCU has officially been retired, and James Gunn and Peter Safran are now leading the charge to reboot the DC universe, the actual list of confirmed projects isn't that long just yet. Still, things are picking up steam, with the first theatrical entry in the new DCU set to be Superman in 2025, and a few shows already lined up in both the main continuity and Elseworlds. But what's really getting fans excited is the promise that the DCU won't just focus on the Justice League. A whole bunch of villains are going to get their time to shine, too. Recently, James Gunn hinted at the inclusion of Deathstroke in the new universe. Shortly afterward, The Hollywood Reporter revealed that a film featuring both Bane and Deathstroke is in development. This pairing hasn't really been explored on screen before, so the idea of these two dangerous characters sharing the spotlight opens up a lot of cool possibilities. Although we don't have too many details yet, and the project is still in early development, it's already sounding like one of the more intriguing ideas to come out of the new DCU plans. The confirmation, or at least a strong tease, came through social media when a fan asked Gunn to wink if Deathstroke was in the works. Gunn responded with a winking emoji, which naturally sent fans into a frenzy. Then, just days later, news broke that not only is Deathstroke being considered for a project, but he might be starring alongside another of Batman's iconic foes, Bane. This pairing is unexpected but exciting, especially since these two villains haven't traditionally been depicted as allies. Still, the potential for a gritty, action-packed film with these two anti-heroes is definitely there. There's also an interesting layer to this, given how Marvel's Deadpool, who was originally inspired by Deathstroke, just had a massive hit with Deadpool and Wolverine. So, it's not hard to imagine that DC is taking notes and thinking about how their own darker, morally complex characters could be used in a similar way. A Bane and Deathstroke movie could easily fall into that gritty but entertaining anti-hero territory. And if done well, it could really stand out. However, Gunn has been pretty clear about one thing. Nothing moves forward in the DCU without a solid script. That means the Bane and Deathstroke movie is still very early in its development. There's a general story being shaped right now, and if the final script doesn't hit the right notes, there's a chance the project could be shelved. Fortunately, they've already brought on a writer to give it a shot, Matthew Orton, who co-wrote Captain America, Brave New World. Orton might not be a household name just yet, but he's building a solid reputation. Besides his work on Brave New World, he also wrote an episode for Marvel's Moon Knight and created a political drama called Devil's Peak. His projects tend to have strong political themes, which could mesh well with characters like Bane and Deathstroke, especially if the movie digs into darker, more grounded storytelling. Having someone like Orton at the helm of the script gives the project a better chance of being taken seriously, especially if the tone leans more towards psychological and tactical drama rather than just brute force action. There's still one big question hanging in the air. Where will this movie actually fit within DC's various timelines? With James Gunn's DCU, Matt Reeves' The Batman universe, and the separate Elseworld stories like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, there are multiple places this film could land. As of now, it hasn't been officially confirmed where this story belongs. However, considering the tone and characters, it would probably make the most sense for it to be part of the new DCU. Some fans even suspect it could secretly be setting up a Secret Six movie, which is a team made up of villains and anti-heroes. As far as story possibilities go, there's a lot of potential in how Bane and Deathstroke might cross paths. They could start off as enemies, each pursuing their own missions that put them at odds, only to be forced into an uneasy alliance later on. Or they could find themselves working toward the same goal right from the beginning, even if they don't particularly like each other. Depending on how the DCU is structured tonally, this could either be a dark and intense thriller or something with a slightly more stylish and fun vibe, kind of like the Suicide Squad. What's certain is that this idea delivers on one of James Gunn's recent teases. The social media activity has always been a bit of a gold mine for fans looking for clues, and this time was no different. The moment he dropped that winking emoji, the speculation exploded. And now, with actual reports confirming that a project involving Deathstroke and possibly Bane is in motion, it shows that Gunn and Safran are really leaning into some of their promises about the new DCU. These characters might not be traditional heroes, but giving them the spotlight suggests a willingness to explore complex and unconventional figures in the rebooted universe. Another aspect worth thinking about is the casting. While Bane and Deathstroke have both appeared in live action before, Tom Hardy played Bane in The Dark Knight Rises, and Manu Bennett portrayed Deathstroke on Arrow. The DCU will likely recast both roles to better fit the long-term plans. This means whoever ends up being cast will need to have great on-screen chemistry, because so much of the movie's success could hinge on how well these two characters bounce off each other. Speaking of casting, there's already been a lot of speculation. Dave Bautista has said in the past that he'd love to play Bane, although he's recently mentioned wanting to take on less physically demanding roles. As for Deathstroke, fans have been dreaming of actors like Stephen Lang taking on the part, although that might only work if it's a one-off film. If they're looking for someone who could stick around for a few years, they might go younger. Actors like Nikolai Coster-Waldau, Andrew Lincoln, or Timothy Olyphant have been floated as great picks for the role. It's also worth remembering that there was a time when a solo Deathstroke movie was actually in the works. Gareth Evans had written a script, and Joe Manganiello was attached to star, following his brief appearance as the character in a deleted scene from Justice League. But with the collapse of the DCU, that project fell through. Now, with this new Bane and Deathstroke project, it looks like DC might be giving the character another shot, just with a clean slate and probably a new actor. At the end of the day, this movie represents an exciting shift in DC's approach. Rather than relying solely on big-name heroes, they're opening the door to stories about complicated, sometimes dangerous characters who operate in the gray areas. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Your suggestions for future videos are always welcome in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay in the loop. And if you want, you can share your thoughts about this video in the comments.